Hello class, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how to calculate percent of a number. This is our third lesson of Unit 12. Let's begin by reviewing your homework from last night. For number 1, find 25% of 1200. Your answer is 300. Number 2, you had to find 40% of 300, which would be 120. For number 3, you had to find the percent of the total chickens left over. So you had to subtract 100 minus 64, which will give you 36%. And number 4, how many toothpicks will you have left over? You have to subtract 379 minus 106.12, and it would be 272.88, or you could just round it to 272 toothpicks. Number 5, how many pickles are left in the jar? There are 9 pickles left, because if Tom ate 25% of the pickles, 25% is 3, so you had to go 12 minus 3, which gives you 9 left over. Now for questions 6 through 10, you had to use tape diagrams to solve the problems. So for number 6, your answer is 19.2 ounces. Number 7, your answer is 112 red ones. Question 8, your answer is pink is 2 yards. Number 9, the answer is 20 not caught. And number 10, $910. You had to find out how much was spent on non-grocery items at the grocery store. So here you had to subtract 2,600 minus 1,690, which gives you $910. Now at this time, please take out your percent of a number notes, and as I'm going through answering these questions, I want you to be filling them out. For the first one, what is percent? Percent means part of 100. Percent per 100, so it's part of 100. There are 3 methods in which we're going to find percent of a number. Number 1 is to model, number 2 is proportion, and number 3 is decimal. The first method that we're going to talk about is using a proportion. So whenever you are finding the percent of a number, this is how you set up the problem. It's part over whole equals percent over 100. So please write this on your paper. Part over whole equals percent over 100. Part over whole equals percent over 100. So the question is, find the 67th percent of 90. So your percent is always written where the percent is, and it says of 90. So of 90, 90 is your whole, so we have to find what 67% equals. And so to do this, you have x over 90 equals 67 over 100. So now we're going to solve. So we're going to cross multiply. X times 100 is equal to 100x, and then 90 times 67 is equal to 6,030. And so to get x by itself, you divide both sides by 100. And so your answer, x, is equal to 60.3. And so now the question asks, does your answer make sense? Is 60.3 about 67% of 90? Well, 50% of 90 is 45, so it's a little bit more than 45. So yes, my answer does make sense. Now let's solve example number 2 using a proportion. Remember, you start off by going part over whole equals percent over 100. So it says find 145% of 210. Well, we know 145% is always going to go where the percent is. And then of 210. So because it says of, that's going to be our whole. So now we just have to find what is equal to 145%. So now we solve our proportion. We cross multiply. 100 times x is 100x. 210 times 145 is 30,450. And we divide both sides by 100 to get x by itself. And so x is equal to 304.5. And so if x is equal to 304.5, we have to see if our answer makes sense. And how do we know? Well, we know that 100% of 210 is 210. And we know that 50% of 210 is 105. So if we add the two together, 145% would be about 315. Or 150% of 210 is 315. So 145%, would that be about 304.5? My answer is yes, so that does make sense. Now example 3, we're going to use decimals to solve to find percent of a number. So when we use a decimal, we have to turn the percent into a decimal. You turn a percent into a decimal by swooping 2 times to the left. So 8% is equal to 0.08. The word of always means to multiply 50. So all you have to do is you multiply 0.08 times 50. You can use your calculator and your answer is 4. Now it says, does my answer make sense? Well, 10% of 50 is 5, so 8% is 4, and I would say yes because that does make sense. Example 4, we're going to use decimals again to calculate the percent of a number. So we have to turn 0.5% into a decimal by swooping the decimal 2 places. So we're going to multiply 0.005 times 36. You can use your calculator to multiply this out, and your answer is 0.18. And it says, does your answer make sense, and how do you know? Well, 0.5% is close to 1%, and I can calculate 1% of 36 in my head. 1% of 36 is 0.36, so half of 0.36 would be 0.18, so yes, that would make sense. Now at this time, I would like for you to try A and B on your own. You can use either method that we talked about, the proportions or using decimals. So please pause the video to complete this part. When you're ready, check your answers, press play. So your answer for A is 0.36 and your answer for B is 7.2. Real world application. Earth's total land area is about 57,308,738 square miles. The land of Asia is about 30% of this total. What is the approximate land area of Asia to the nearest square mile? So you could use either method. What I'm going to do is set up my proportion. Is over of or part over whole equals percent over 100. They give us our percent, which is 30. It says that this amount is equal to the total. So that's what you write down next to 100. And so you're trying to find out what 30% of this number is. So you cross multiply, and then you divide by 100, and so x is equal to 17,196,621, and that is your answer. Now at this time, I would like for you to try this one on your own. Please pause the video while you complete this problem. When you're ready to check your answers, press play. And so here, if you multiply it out, you would have gotten 2,462.8 million, and this is round to the nearest million, so that 8 is going to make the 2 go up, so your answer should be 2,463 million. Now please turn to your percentage and proportions practice page. We're going to work with proportions on solving problems. We're going to use the is over of equals percent over 100, which is the same as part over whole equals percent over 100. And you can always refer back to this, the top part, if you have any questions. But remember, part over whole equals percent over 100, or is over of equals percent over 100. Now I'd like for you to write out your proportion. Remember, is over of equals percent over 100. Remember, 100 always goes here. Now, what is 28% of 175? We see they give us a percent, so our percent always goes above the 100. Now we have of 175. Of is out of, the same thing, so it's always on the bottom because that's your total. That's 100, the whole. Now you just have to find what 28% is. And so you cross multiply, you solve for x. And so for number 1, your answer is 49. For problem number 2, 31 is 62% of what number? They give us a percent, so we know our percent always goes above the 100. Now it says 31 is 62%. So 31 is 62%, so they are lined up. And we're trying to find of what number. So now we cross multiply and we solve for x. So at this time I want you to use a calculator and solve for x. And so x is equal to 50. So for problem 3, you set up your proportion. And they say, what is 35% of 80? They give us our percent. Our percent always goes over the 100. What is? We're trying to find out the is. And of 80, of goes on the bottom. So now at this time, pause the video while you solve for x. When you're ready to check your answer, press play. And so your answer should be 28. For problem 4, set up your proportion. 36 is, so 36 is 80%. Your percent always goes over 100. Over what number? Please pause the video while you solve for x. When you're ready to check your answer, press play. And so your answer should be 45. Now at this time, please pause the video while you complete 5 through 16 on your own. When you're ready to check your answers, press play. And here are your answers. Please pause the video while you check over your answers. When you're ready to move on, press play. For homework tonight, you need to complete your percent calculations, calculate the percent or value requested, and you can use your is over of equals percent over 100 proportion to solve these problems. Good luck and have a great day.